Despicable Me and the Minions are simply some of the best animations in history. That is exactly why. Do you have any idea how many times the little yellow beings and Gru have appeared in other cartoons and series? For example, in The Secret Life of Pets, also an Illumination feature film, we notice that Gru makes what we call a cameo appearance. When the dogs are at the park, if you look closely, way in the back, you will notice that our favorite despicable guy is walking his pet, the not at all calm and scary Kyle, way in the background, almost in a way that you cannot even see. Similarly, in the Lorax movie, also by the same creators of Gru and the Minions, we notice that the animators really enjoyed creating references to Illumination's first animated hit. In certain parts of the movie, the most famous yellow characters of animation make an appearance. If you pay attention to the sneakers of Ted, the protagonist, you will notice that he has a very curious one-eyed logo, a minion. More than that, the name of his shoe brand is Gru's Shoes, making a direct connection to the boss of the yellow creatures. Netflix released a while ago a cartoon created by the same guy who made Gravity Falls called Inside Job. In this animation, a secret organization appears that rules the world from the shadows, but in a very professional way. And in one of the episodes, the guys comment that the minions were invented to brainwash the minds of regular people. And soon, we see the short little yellow guys popping up on a screen singing and dancing. Could this be real? If it is, it definitely worked on me, because I love the Minions, even more when they are singing. Maybe you have already heard of a comedy web series focused on talking vegetables and fruits called The Annoying Orange, which became such a massive hit on the internet that it ended up getting its own show on the Cartoon Network channel. In one of the show's episodes, we notice that during a vegetable gathering happening in the kitchen, there is a trio of onions that shows up, wearing blue overalls and one- and two-eyed goggles, exactly like the little Minions. Going back once again to the Secret Life of Pets movie, seriously, I love this movie, we found another reference to the Minions in the same animation. When Duke appears for the first time at his new owner's house, he and Max do not get along very well, and the two dogs start giving each other dirty looks. And while Duke is using his bowl, if you look behind him, you will notice that one of the owner's refrigerator magnets has a slightly different shape. That is right, it has the shape of the famous Minion symbol, proving once again that the little yellow creatures are very famous in that animal universe. But Gru and the Minions are not the only ones from the franchise to receive tributes in the 2016 Secret Life of Pets movie. When Duke and Max are in the sewer with Snowball's crew, one of the gang members, the pig with tattoos, shows what his beginner humans did to him. Then he shows off his back fully covered in tattoos, and among the many that he has, one catches the attention of the people who enjoy Despicable Me. A unicorn! It is identical to the unicorn that Agnes gets at the amusement park because of Gru in the first feature film. Returning to the Lorax, maybe you did not even notice, but the little yellow creatures appear many, many times besides the one we have already mentioned here. One of these other appearances of Gru's helpers happens when Ted, always him, is rummaging through various things in his room before heading out to try and find the legendary Onceler. And he pulls open his drawer, and inside, we notice a lot of thrown-in stuff, like a battery, a nail, and even a padlock. But besides all that, we also have a small rubber minion leaning in the corner, proving that the little yellow beings that appeared 2 years before the premiere of the Lorax are not only known around here, but in every corner. Moving away from movies, let's now mention animated series that show very different versions of the Minions. Starting with American Dad, a cartoon created for teenagers and adults called American Dad, it also makes a connection to Gru's yellow helper beings, except in a much more messed up way. One of the characters, the alien named Roger, dresses up as a woman, goes to an event, and asks his friend to try his luck at a shooting target booth, because he wants one of the stuffed animals that are hanging there. And if we look closely, we will notice that the stuffed animals are a Minion version of the famous reggae singer Bob Marley, if you catch my drift. This reference to the Minions wears classic clothes from Jamaica, Bob's homeland, and even has a cigarette in its mouth. That was a very fun mention. Before we continue, just a quick heads up. If you also enjoy movies, series, and cartoons, click the subscribe button right now, alright? Also, in Family Guy, we see a new reference to the Minions. In the scene where Lois is talking to Peter, who has become a very powerful person, and she asks him for cash, asking if he wants to act all tough like this. So he hands her a small card and tells her to talk to one of his minions to get the money. And besides him clearly saying the name of the minions, notice that his card is yellow and has two little eyes, being a clear connection to Gru's helpers. Now let's go to The Simpsons, which is simply the longest-running cartoon on the air. And what they love to do the most is make references to other famous animations, like the Minions. One of these occasions happens in one of the series' Halloween episodes, where many different versions of the Springfield family appear, and one of them has a look that is almost exactly like the Minions, short with stubby legs and glasses on their faces. And Maggie's is even one-eyed, just like certain Minions. I think the fact that the characters in both cartoons have yellow skin kind of makes them cousins. Do you not agree? Going back to Family Guy, just like in others, in this cartoon, we notice the Minions being mentioned many times. And sometimes, they were pretty dark jokes. In another one of these, Peter hands a DVD to Brian, his dog, and says that this is the Minions 3 movie. Except this time, Gru was replaced by a famous Hollywood producer who has a reputation for being a bit of an aggressive guy. Then we see a scene of a small minion next to this director, and we can notice the little creature dying of fear and shaking with terror of the new boss. Poor Minion. But you do not just notice references to the Minions in cartoons and animated movies. That is because we also catch this happening in live-action movies. The best case we found happens in the feature film Mortal Engines, which takes place in a destroyed future, where cities now roll on wheels due to a giant disaster that struck the world. But even so, the people of London in this new world try to maintain their culture, and when they are in a museum, they mention the ancient gods of the United States. And at that moment, we can notice that they were talking about none other than the Minions themselves. I cracked up laughing when I was watching the movie and noticed this reference. If there is one animation that makes fun of all the other animations, it is undoubtedly Mad. And of course, Despicable Me would never be left out of this. In one of the episodes of one of the craziest animations out there, we notice that the Japanese version of many well-known Western movies is shown. As they roll by, we notice that one of them is Despicable Me. But if you translate the Japanese words in the movie's description into English, you will get that the summary talks about Uncle Fester and his assistants, making a connection to the resemblance between Gru and the guy from the Addams Family and the Wednesday series. Compare the two characters side by side. If you pay attention, you will realize that the characters, even the Minions, are wearing clothes similar to Uncle Fester's. And one of them even has long dark hair as if it were Wednesday. At the end of The Secret Life of Pets 2, we notice that the animals all end up returning safely and soundly to their owners, the sequel to that first movie we already mentioned here. And one of them is the short and cute hamster that belongs to a little boy, who apparently does not just enjoy small furry rodents, but also enjoys the fun, one-eyed yellow beings. That is because at the moment the hamster is on the bed with his owner, you can notice on top of the dresser next to the lamp a small Minion action figure. Very identical indeed to that figure we see in Ted's drawer in the Lorax, which we talked about here earlier. One of my favorite cartoons, The Amazing World of Gumball, also has some very subtle mentions to our beloved Minions. In the episode where Gumball and Darwin tag along with Nicole to her work to help her out with using the computer, in one of the pop-up windows they click on, we can notice a super different version of any other Minion, but which is still a clear connection. There we can catch that the colors of the little guy are inverted, and actually, this time, the Minion's skin is blue, which was very smart, since this way, Cartoon Network would avoid getting sued, and still managed to throw in a really cool reference. As a bonus, we brought one more reference to the Minions, and once again, in The Simpsons. In one episode, we notice that Lisa and Bart are at a Springfield amusement park waiting in line for a water ride. And when they finally reach the entrance part of the ride, we notice that the sign has a super obvious mention of the Minions, except with the name changed to Grunions. And it does not stop there. The whole amusement park revolves around these so-called Grunions, who show up in many parts of the episode as mascots wandering around the park, making it even more obvious that it is a spoof of the Minions in the Simpsons style. We've reached the end of this video, but if you like having your mind blown, this is the right place. That's why we left 2 really good videos for you to click, watch, and best of all, stay with us.